Hello and welcome to Cut Into the Ball in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben. As always, I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
Today we were talking about CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, which sprang up as a result of the Black Lives Matter protests in Seattle on Capitol Hill. It's now over, but it's worth having a look at. It's an interesting social experiment, if nothing else.
Yep.
I was going to say, I also feel it's like a massively underreported, like, extremely huge news. Like, without getting ahead of ourselves, just briefly, people occupied like 6 blocks of a major American city and kicked out the police force. And it wasn't like the main talking point. It was sort of, I feel, tried to have kept as quiet as possible.
Of course, mate. They don't want you to know, do they?
I didn't know what I stumbled on it I heard it on Joe Rogan. I was like, what? So I went through Twitter then. So anyway.
Yeah, I heard it from Russell Brand.
Fucking hell, what's he doing there?
Well, but we should have heard it though from the mainstream fucking media, shouldn't we?
Of course.
Well, you'd think so.
Don't get ideas, Ben, above your station.
I'm just saying, you'd think you'd have heard it from the MSN.
No, that's what I mean. No. I'm saying, but by the mainstream media talking about it, it's from their point of view, giving people ideas above their station, isn't it? They don't want people happening in Seattle. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, and we'll go into some other autonomous zones in the past.
Yeah, man.
Oh. Okay, cool. It should be pointed out that we are still all sort of not in the same room because of COVID, because of the Rona. We're on Skype, so the sound quality may not be up to the usual standard. But, we've been doing this for a few months now. You know what you're getting.
The best we can do, isn't it?
That's it. Until Mike decides that he needs to come out of a plastic bubble. That is literally the best.
And also, I now, having had a company vehicle for 12 years and it being taken from me, also need to, get
public transport.
No, fuck, mate. Who the fuck? Come on. Do I strike you as the type of man who goes on a bus? No,
no, you strike me as the kind of guy that sits on the back of the bus with a can of special brew.
No, I walk the fucking hour walk rather than a 10-minute with 3 cans and a podcast in my headphones. I like a walk. I've had to get used to it the last few weeks. It's very bizarre, unemployment after 12 years. But, I've quickly fell into a routine of sleeping all fucking day.
Yeah. That's hard to get out of.
Fuck.
Yeah. I haven't been at work for the last 3 months, believe me. All I've done is sleep.
Fuck them. Oh, well.
If you want to thank some new and returning listeners, Mike.
Yeah, let's have a look what we got. Niles, Michigan, Chester, UK, Milan, Italy, Nairobi, Kenya.
Nairobi? Fucking hell.
Cambridge, Canada, Shady Nasty, New York, Pontiac, Michigan, Bengaluru, India, Austin, Texas, Boardman, Oregon, and the top 3, Little Rock, Arkansas, Guadalajara, Spain, and Telford, UK.
Oh, Telford, wow.
I could be wrong. I'm trying to Google it as I speak so I don't fuck it up, but in my guts, I think Pontiac, Michigan may have been the site of WrestleMania 3.
I was just immediately thinking, is that where they made the Pontiac car?
WrestleMania 3, the largest indoor... The Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Yes, attendance 93,173, although it says in brackets next to it disputed, because the common rumour is that Vince added about 20,000 onto it to get the record. There were still a fuck ton of people there to see. That's where Hogan slammed Andre, brother.
Yes, it was. Yes, that's where he... Did he get the belt back or retain the belt? He slammed Andre anyway. Yeah.
Retained it.
Retained. Yes. And who can forget that unforgettable moment when he managed to pick Andre up and body slam him?
Strangely, Andre, sorry, Mike, a very brief wrestling tangent, I swear, just a factoid.
It's okay, buddy. You're talking about time when I used to watch it, so I understand what you're on about. I remember Andre the Giant.
Andre never actually held the WWF World title, despite being their largest attraction for many, many, many years up until the Hogan era. He only ever held it once in storyline when the $1 Million Man paid. This was back when it was amazing. So the referee, Earl Hebner, had a real-life twin brother.
Right.
So they were like, holy fuck, we need to use this. So the $1 Million Man paid him to be an evil ref cheated Hogan out of the title. He then the $1 Million Man sold it to Andre. But like, there's this amazing clip you can find of Hogan holding both of these twin refs, one in each hand, and you can picture his overacting, can't you? As I say it, looking from one to the other, to what the how. Yeah. And then in storyline, they said that they paid the $1 Million Man paid a dude to have plastic surgery to look the same as the ref. Fuck, wrestling was good back then.
God, I bet Hogan's brain melted even though he knew it was a storyline. He's like, hang on. And then his brain melted, and then he realised that it was actually fake.
So, yeah, there's two. You can picture who Earl Hebner is. Picture the number one ref in WWF. He's got a twin brother, Dave Hebner, who's also a ref. But, yeah, anyway.
I think so. He both in TNA at one point, along with his son as ref.
Yes, he did. But we should do the news.
Final thing for you, Gaz.
Go on.
It's slightly wrestling related. Have you seen that Chris Hemsworth is starring as Hulk Hogan in a biopic?
Yes, but unfortunately, I hate to piss on everyone's chips. That's a 10-year-old story that's, for some bizarre reason, started resurfacing as if he said it last week.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
That production is not... it's nowhere near... Well, maybe that's why it's resurfacing, because production is going ahead. I don't know, but... Yeah, that's a 10-year-old interview.
Wow, didn't know that.
Or maybe not. It's old, though. It's old. But anyway, yeah, I hope it fucking happens. Holy shit.
Yeah, that'd be cool. He'd have to really buff up for that, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Hulk Hogan was a dangerously, freakishly large man in the 1980s. Oh, yeah. Totally natural, though. Totally natural. He did his prayers, did his trading, and took his vitamins, Ben.
Yeah, but those vitamins came in little syringes.
Yes, they were illegal steroids. That there was a government trial, and Vince McMahon had to stand, but he was cleared and acquitted of all fucking things, so it's fine. He wasn't running a fucking steroid operation. He didn't force his wrestlers to have it.
No, but he did force them to get as big as they could.
He didn't force no one to do nothing, Ben. It was a federal trial. He fucking body slammed the FBI, mate. He fucking pinned the federal government 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the fucking ring.
Was Vince rich
McMahon
at this
is
point?
The manliest man alive. And his lawyer was a fucking beast.
I was going to say, how rich was Vince at this point?
Well, it's very much at the peak, just after the peak of the 80s Hulkamania, where the WWF went from a regional thing to a global entertainment phenomenon brand on the level of sort of, you know, it's recognizable as Disney, I suppose, isn't it? WWF, WWE. Yeah. Anyway, I think Mike's brain's melting. Let's do the...
Okay, weird news.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
A woman claims to be a real-life vampire and even drinks blood.
Okay.
A woman who claims to be a real-life vampire admits to drinking the blood of others and claims she's actually 600 years old.
Of course she is.
Yeah. Lilith Vampire, it's spelled with a Y, 27, lives in London and works a normal 9-to-5 job. But outside of her day job, she has amassed more than 150,000 followers on her Instagram, where she shares Gothic-inspired snaps. In true vampire style, Lilith says she likes to avoid being out in direct sunlight and that she feels more energized at night. She says, I can go outside and function in the daytime, but I prefer to avoid direct sunlight as I find it to be draining. I feel my best after sunset.
She doesn't burst into flames then?
No. She became a vampire at 18, although she wasn't fully aware of it, and she's now come to realise. She doesn't just look the part, she also admits to drinking human blood, but stresses that it's something done between like-minded individuals and not helpless sleeping victims like you see in the films.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've been through this, so if you go back to our Vampires podcast, you drink too much blood, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, well, they literally just sort of make a nick and then drink from that. Yeah, it's what's the word? Carefully and intimately and consensually. That's the word I was looking for.
Consensually.
What's her evidence of being 600?
She hasn't got any, she just feels an affinity with the past.
Of course.
What load of
I
shit.
knew it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, really. I think she's got a fetish for it. I think she's got some kind of vampire fetish, and she's
I think she's got a mental illness.
That's also a possibility.
That's usually my go-to explanation for these fucks.
So she says she's a vampire. How come you never get people going around, I don't know, claiming to be a mummy or a Bigfoot or a wolf man? Where's the next werewolf?
Well, it's easier to be a vampire, isn't it? You just bite people.
You go out at night.
Yeah. Basically.
Well, I suppose so, but still, it's like, well, oh, I'm a vampire. Well, fuck you. I want to be a werewolf.
Okay.
In fact, I'm identifying as a werewolf from now on.
2020, Ben, you can identify as whatever you please, and whoever
Unless it's a
disagrees
transformer.
with you is a bigot and a fascist and a racist.
You mean unless it's a transformer?
Yeah, well, we're not going to have this fucking argument again, are we, surely?
All right then, Mike. Next one. She's crazy. She's got mental issues, or she's making a fucking fortune out of it.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously likes the lifestyle, whatever that
I
might
like
be. Of a
sleeping all day.
vampire.
It doesn't make me a vampire.
No, obviously not. But you know, I'm going for that. She's not a real. Obviously, she's not a real vampire. I think
She
we've
thinks she's
established
600
that.
years old.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit, isn't it? But you know, if she wants to identify as one or whatever, that's up to her, isn't it? Let her get on with it.
Yeah. I mean, she's obviously making some money out of it. She's an attractive gothic chick. Everyone loves goth chicks.
Yeah.
Everyone likes a big titty goth girlfriend.
Yeah, till you speak to her.
I wouldn't
And
say
she
I've ever met more than a sort of 2 or 3 proper, what I'd class as proper goths. They were a bit miserable.
Count yourself lucky. Boys, start the next news story. I'm having a desperate situation here. I'm going to sprint downstairs to get a lighter because I have a spliff and no flame.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to die if I don't light it.
Okay.
Literally.
It'll be seamless. No one will even notice.
Go on then, Mike.
Humans forced to hide from sex-addicted monkeys who set up HQ in disused cinema.
Man, those monkeys. They're scamps.
Sex-crazed monkeys have forced humans to cower indoors after taking over an ancient city while fueled by junk food.
Wow.
The incredible sequence of events has seen an estimated 6,000 macaques run riot through the Thai city of Lopburi. The randy primates have set up a HQ in a disused cinema, lashing out at anyone brave enough to try and drive them away.
Well, I just caught the tail end of that, and that's the most apocalyptic thing I've heard.
Planet of the fucking apes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, some residents first thought the best way of calming the overzealous monkeys down was to give them fast food, but this just made the situation worse.
Oh.
Yeah, let's fill them full of sugar and salt and see what happens. And
What the fuck?
And high
A
in
troop of
saturated
monkeys.
fats.
A troop of monkeys have hijacked a cinema. Don't go and give them Mackie D's, do you? What are they playing at?
Mike, I was talking to the guy who runs the pet store on the market about, because I've been feeding these cats since I've been living here. He tried selling me the line of, though, there may be some truth to this, but it did seem like salesman spiel to me. Like, apparently the food that we buy the cats from the supermarket.
It's like fast food, isn't it?
Yeah, he said basically that's like giving your cat McDonald's 3 times
Yeah.
a day. I was like, okay, what's the alternative? Oh, here's a bag of uber expensive. I was like, do you know what? The cats are going to be slobs. They have just been economically forced, like humans. They are on their own economic level because of their owner. Yeah, they're not going to be eating those fucking expensive biscuits, man. It's like £6 a bag, Mike.
Yeah. No, I give him the normal stuff. Like, he likes Whiskers, but I give him tuna as well.
Fucking hell, mine get Tesco own brand, mate. There's 2 of the cunts.
He won't eat anything else.
You spoiled him.
I know.
Ah, well, he deserves it.
About 4 tins of tuna a week as well.
Fucking hell. Yeah, it's probably cheaper. I need to look in because I've been obsessively going around the shops since unemployment, trying to price up cat food, and the cheapest I've found is Wilkinson's own brand, but I don't think I could give that to them. It's probably 50% cardboard.
Yeah. 20% dust and ash.
Ah, well. What are you going to do? We're all going to die.
That's it.
I'm probably going to lose a limb to a chainsaw in the next few weeks, so that'll be a fun story to look forward to, won't it, on the pod?
Yeah. It certainly will.
If you chop your cock off, we'll be no cock brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Right. Should I go for this one? Have we
Yeah.
got to add to that one? All right. This is nightmarish. Okay. The headline is, I'll give the website if anyone wants to check this out, because there's a visual element to this. Good chance you've seen it on social media this week, but just Google human-sized bat. The article I'm looking at is Coast to Coast AM.
Very reputable news source.
Of course. Art Bell, may he rest in peace.
R.I.P.D.
Killed for a reason. Okay. A nightmarish image circulating online purportedly shows a human-sized bat in the Philippines. However, the true nature of the creature is a little more complicated than that. The unsettling photo initially popped up online last Wednesday when a Twitter user shared the image and wrote, quote, "I remember when I told you all about the Philippines having human-sized bats? Yeah, this is what I was talking about." Unsurprisingly, the post quickly went viral with over 100,000 horrified social media users sharing the photograph. Alas, as is often the case with images that capture the imagination of the internet, there is more to the story than meets the eye. The creature featured in the photo is species of bat native to the Philippines and known as a giant golden-crowned flying fox.
Sweet. That's metal as fuck.
Fuck me, I don't want flying foxes. While they do grow to tremendous size, the description of this particular animal as human-sized is generous at best. As later noted by the individual who posted the photo, the bat is about the size of a 6-year-old child. Big enough!
Still pretty fucking big.
Still human! Any human, a bat the size of any human, from a baby up to a fucking 90-year-old, any human size is not a good size for a flying rodent, in my personal opinion.
I'd rather have a flying fox than a bat the size of a 6-year-old.
Oh, fuck the Philippines. I was never going to go there anyway. This is just one more reason why it was never, ever going to happen. How much corona do you think's in this fucking 6-year-old size? Fuck me. I could feed a family for a week.
About 5 foot as well.
Oh, God. As it says, to be honest, the clarification is likely to provide little solace for people unnerved by the image, since the idea of a youngster-sized bat existing in the world is still pretty unsettling. You're shitting me. Fucking hell. To that end, for those who may have been hoping that the photo was a hoax, what appears to be the original source for the picture was found online as seen in the video below. We regret to inform you that, indeed, the monstrous bat is quite real. And that's that. Yeah, it's the size of an average 6-year-old child, which I imagine, it's about, you can picture a 6-year-old in your head, about, up to your sort of
3 feet in it.
Yeah, that's way too big for any bat creature. Its fucking head's the size. Oh God, the size of its head. Imagine them eyes looking into yours, and the way bats just flap around uncontrollably. Well, that's what they make you feel. Oh, fuck bats. I don't like bats. We've talked about this. And it was this goes way before Corona. I had a problem with bats before Corona.
I was scared of bats before it was cool.
Yeah, I was. Shit scared of the cunts. Leona used to fucking ridicule me for it. But yeah. I'd be trying to smoke in the garden though, Mike, in the dark, and this fucker would be flutting around in circles. And I know in his head it's controlled. He knows what he's doing. But it don't look that way to me. And if one of them collided with my head, I would go upstairs, get a rope, find a beam, right? And because a bat flew into my face and touched my face, I would immediately hang myself. I would not be able to deal with the trauma of a bat's fucking fleshy, horrible. Imagine it flapping into you.
I know, but to immediately hang yourself,
Instant
it's a
death.
bit extreme.
You could just go and have a shower.
I can't live after that. I'll never feel safe outside. Oh God.
God. You could just get a shower.
Now you're becoming a tree surgeon.
Yeah.
You
If
might
I see a
encounter
bat, I
more.
will mate, I'll chainsaw that cunt in half and live stream it. Fuck you, Corona!
Now I've got visions of Gaz stood on top of a white van wielding a chainsaw surrounded by like 4 foot tall bats screaming at him.
Aha! This is where you're wrong, Ben, because the new van that I'll be using for this company is in fact a green van. Aha.
Ooh! Alright then,
Yeah.
stood on top of a green van. Wielding a chainsaw as bats attack him. It's like a scene from a zombie movie except with bats.
And obviously with a backsplash of bat blood, you're going to become more prone to be infected by corona.
Yeah.
Oh, don't ruin my fantasy with your science.
Unless you're in a hazmat
If
suit.
you lose a hand,
Yeah.
right, are you going to have the chainsaw so it fits on your stump?
Fuck yeah. But I'm also going to aim to not lose a hand.
Well, yeah.
I did quite well today. I learned some, important safety tips.
Don't put it between your legs to start it.
No, that's exactly how you start it.
Not with the blade first.
We put the fuck. Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell, don't hire Ben.
No. Jesus.
Hey, I saw that in a meme, all right?
You hold it in your left hand with the handle between your knees. You grab it with your right hand, the starter, and you bum. And yes, it makes you feel fucking incredible when it starts. It really does. But anyway, sorry, I told you I wasn't going to go on about it. I'm obsessed now. We just need to shut up about chainsaws.
Okay, so CHAZ, or if you want to be really technical, CHOP. They changed the name.
Yeah.
Today.
We'll refer to it as CHAZ, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. CHOP is the Capitol Hill Organised Protest. I suspect that's a bit of a rebranding to make it look like Occupy Wall Street.
I found this from Twitter that one of the better hashtags is hashtag CHAZCHOP. All one word if you want to follow what's been happening up to the minute. Well, it's a little bit irrelevant as of this moment, but what was happening. Yeah, CHAZCHOP.
CHAZ.
2 different words, but all means the same thing.
Oh, yeah. On June the 9th, an area of around 6 blocks in downtown Seattle became known as CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It was formed after several nights of intense, sometimes violent, sometimes read always violent standoffs between police and protesters. Eventually, police ceded the area, so they just got the hell out of there, surrounding the precinct to the protesters. In the absence of law enforcement, a kind of police-free commune sprang up. The occupation quickly became a nightmare bogeyman for conservatives, including the president, who seemed to think it was a, quote, territory claimed by Antifa radicals.
Domestic terrorists.
The fact that Antifa is not a formal organisation and has never claimed any responsibility for CHAZ did not stop him.
Of course it wouldn't. Scapegoating.
A Mad Max movie come to life. It was run by domestic terrorists who apparently falsely claimed some SoundCloud rapper was the warlord of jazz.
I've seen videos of him, though, running around with a gun, haven't I?
Well, he's a rapper. What's what they do in it?
Yeah, but in CHAZ.
Oh, well, they reckon he wasn't the warlord of jazz.
Does he drive about with the
No, they're on
skulls?
foot.
Oh, no, on foot. There's no what? He's got no car.
There's a gang of them on foot with fucking like AK, well maybe not AKs, but some sort of automatic weaponry.
All right, then. I bet he's got a palace made out of the skulls of his enemies.
Ooh.
Like Skeletor.
Yeah. And they've paved the road that leads to the palace, also out of the bones of the dead. That he's conquered. Yeah.
Skullless in Seattle.
Oh, Skullless in Seattle. Now that I'd watch. Apparently, it was initially reported as being, quote, extremely chill. Some organisers even criticised participants for acting like the occupation was a music festival. However, there were several shooting incidents in the area after June 20th, and the Seattle Mayor, Jenny Durkin, subsequently announced the police would be returning to the precinct, which they have now done. on July 1st. They arrested 13 when they went in.
Took them long enough.
See, I'm torn between this. I'm 50-50. Because part of me thinks, wow, this sounds great. No police. And then I think, you do kind of need them, though. I mean, I'm not saying they're all bastards. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Same as in life generally. But, you know, if there's a gang of people roaming around the streets with their automatic weapons, I don't feel equipped to deal with that scenario.
This is the bit that gets to me. Like, slight disclaimer. I can see the idea and the good and the positive in what they were trying to do and in their message and the point of what they achieved there. This is a pretty huge deal. But, and this might be because of what my job has been the last 12 years, and that me and my mate have a market store that we've run with small business owners, basically. There is still people living and owning things in this autonomous zone, in these 6 blocks, who have been who have no problem with the protests necessarily, but don't have an affinity to them, have been completely abandoned by the authorities that they've spent their lives paying into.
Yeah.
Businesses completely destroyed, ransacked by idiots who are a detriment to what this movement's trying to achieve. It's all just a massive shame. Do you know what I mean? It's just sadness all round to me. So I just see it from those people that have been stuck there, living there in apartments with businesses, with all these people and what's been happening on the street, like that have no affinity to, not necessarily against Black Lives Matter or any of the other movements, but are just caught up in all of this. All of it seems sad to me. And then the police have inevitably ended up just blanketly moving in and dismantling it and moving it on, as we all knew would happen anyway.
Well, yeah.
It's just all really I just feel bad for everyone involved. I really do. Well, not the people who are raping and shooting people in there, no, and taking advantage of it, not those people, but I feel bad for the people who had genuine intentions, and I feel bad for the local business owners and residents. Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's a pushback, isn't it? It's a pushback against the violence and brutality of the police.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it, in America, it's mental.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, let me know that us from the UK, we have nowhere near the problems that the American police have.
A chance. Nowhere near.
Even though we have problems with racism, it is endemic in our force as well, but they don't carry guns.
That's a different issue. That's the thing, Mike. I've heard it explained in a really good, simple, very simplistic way of like, if we lived in America, us three now, and we got pulled over, drink driving or anything, pulled over for any reason, the first thing going through our mind would be like, oh God, like I don't want to get in trouble with work, like, oh, can I really afford a ticket? Like, fuck. If you're a black person and you get pulled over, the first thought is like, I might die.
Yeah.
From a
young age, black kids are taught by their mothers, sometimes fathers, or they're not generally there most of the time because they're in prison.
That's a bit harsh, Mike.
No, well, it's Ben.
I know I'm joking. I'm just like,
yeah, it's true though, isn't it? I mean, the incarceration rate of black people is unbelievable. I mean, they've just slaving everyone away.
No, I can tell you an interesting fact about that if you like.
1 second, can I just finish my point?
Yeah.
They've got to teach their black kids how to respond to cops when pulled over.
Mark Henry, the wrestler, explained this. Keep your hands at 10 and 2.
Yeah.
Officer, I'm going to reach for my license. Is that okay?
I never knew that until recently. No. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that fucking bad.
Yeah, it is that bad. Yeah. Fucking hands on the steering wheel, son, and just letting them know they're not going to get shot, because they are so hyped up in the stereotype of like somebody could just pop an Uzi out of this window right now. I could die now. That's what the cop's thinking. It's also what the black guy's thinking.
Yeah, and we've also seen videos where black guys are acting, not violently at all, and they're shot and they're murdered.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that doesn't even stop it.
Yeah.
No.
So what can you do? What can you do? They're forced. They're desperate. And this is just a spillover. I think this is just spillover of that anger and that hatred and that just
I think, Mike, in a job as complex as policing, in a country as complex as America, with the gun ownership and all the rest added into it, there's always going to be fucking mistakes.
Yeah, but then you can look
In my
at training
opinion.
then, can't you? I mean, in some states, it takes longer to be a masseuse than it does a police officer.
Mm.
As a masseuse, you're not going to accidentally kill somebody or purposely kill somebody, are you? Not.
You might snap the neck by accident.
It's unlikely. But if you got a gun, you're more likely to do that.
I could chainsaw their heads off.
It's fucking insane.
That's probably more brutal. That's more brutal than shooting them, Gaz.
Ben, you're going to have to update your joke now about me murdering prostitutes in the van. And now I'm just going to do them in the street with a chainsaw. Everyone can see.
Well, you still got the van.
Oh, do you know what? The guy told me something. This is very brief. It'll only take a few seconds. Something very cool. Obviously, you need a face mask, face protection. When I've got the money to, you can buy like industry standard like safety masks that are molded to look like Power Ranger masks.
Oh God!
You fucking know I'm going to be in the middle of the forest with one of them on my face. And just to troll Ben, I'm going to get the pink one.
Stop trolling me at all. If you want to be the Pink Ranger, you be the Pink Ranger. I fully support your stance as the Pink Ranger.
Thanks, mate. I expected a tirade against my choice.
No, if you want to be the Pink Ranger, you go for it.
You've changed. What's happened?
Smoking a lot of weed.
I was going to say you're on mushrooms. What's happened?
I've become at one with the universe, Gaz.
Oh, fuck off.
I've meditated and smoked weed, and I've become at one with the universe. I am now a floaty free spirit. I've got this recording table surrounded in coloured crystals to give me the energies that I need to go through with this.
Have you cleared your chakras?
Cleared my chakras.
You know what you need to do? You need to clear your work shy lazy bastard chakras. Get ready to go back to work. 'Cause it's going to be a shock to your lazy lockdown system, son.
Rebel against it. It's to keep you in the low chakras.
No, fuck your chakras.
Excuse me, girl. I'm the only one who's employed out of the three of us.
Technically, I haven't actually been fired yet, so fuck you. Yeah. Hey, what are you laughing at, Ben? If this fucking tree surgery thing don't work out, I might end up at Lyrico with you. What if I climb the ladder quicker? Imagine that. Imagine if I super sucked my way up the ladder and became your superior in record. Oh, wouldn't that be so sweet?
I'd move departments.
No, mate. I'm a people person when I put my mind to it. Am I not? What are you laughing at? I got away with it. I've got something I'm going to read to you, actually. When I told you the story of why my job has maybe come to an end, boys, off the air, I may have not been as completely honest with you, because I was still feeling a little bit shameful. But now, as I have some prospects and things are improving, I'm feeling better. I feel I can share this with you. So I'm going to read you a few sentences.
Okay.
Having now completed a disciplinary investigation, the allegations against you are as follows. That you've seriously breached the misconduct rules of the company on 17th of June 2020 by A. Using objectionable and foul and abusive language in an aggressive way.
Right.
This is the one where you're going to shit your pants, boy. I'm going to say, Shag, should you really be using chainsaws? B. Threatening a work colleague whilst holding a knife.
You shouldn't be using chainsaws, and you are a people person, obviously.
Yeah. Well, he's ex-army. I thought I was going to get, military style beaten. So I was like, fucking well, I'm going down swinging.
Well, to be fair, that doesn't put in the circumstances that you were under. You're under a bit of stress. You're broken up with your girlfriend. COVID had hit.
Lots of shit going on. And they've sent me all the statements. Would you like to read an excerpt from somebody's statement? I don't
God,
have
go on.
names on it, so I don't know whose these are. Gareth then went mad and grabbed a Stanley knife off a trolley next to him. He extended the blade fully and threatened me by saying, I will cut your... Oh, I can tell whose this one is then. Threatened me by saying, I will cut your fucking throat.
And you're a people person.
This guy started on me in front of everybody. He was threatening me violently. He's got out of this scot-free. I love the way people put things in their statement. He's put like, Gareth came to the warehouse and said, all right, James, to which I replied, no, I'm not, and I would prefer it if you didn't speak to me. Do you know what he said?
What?
I walked in and I was like, you're right, mate. And he went, fuck off, don't fucking talk to me, you're a prick, you are. That's how it started, mate. Because here's my state. Sorry, I will end this detour very briefly. Mine says, upon my return to the warehouse, I said, all right, lads, to which the response I got from James was, fuck you, you fucking prick. I don't want to talk to you. You think you're fucking special. Because that is what he said to me. And then his account is, I'd prefer if you didn't speak to me. Fuck these.
All I'm going to say, Gaz, is you're a perfect advocate for the police.
Fuck these thunder cunts, Mike. They're full of shit, man. I told the truth in my statement. I said what I said what I did. These thunder cunts. They're trying to save their ass. I knew my ass couldn't be saved. So I told the truth. But anyway, things are looking up.
Do you know what regiment you used to be in?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a shame.
He was reading off his home address going, come to my house any day, I'll fucking deal with you. Blah, blah. And I said, I'll fucking deal with it now, cunt. I was like, do you know what kind of 6 months I've had, you prick? This was the final straw, so yeah. Anyway, fuck him. Things are looking up. I could earn more money in fucking 2 days with a chainsaw. I didn't know this. Than you can in a fucking month driving a fucking van, so.
There you go.
Fuck 'em.
Indeed.
Where were we? Oh yeah, capitalism is bad and CHAZ is good.
No, I was going to tell you, say about the sort of, when Mike made the comment about a lot of the arrest rate of black men.
Yes.
Right. Now, when the Civil War ended and the South was obviously forced to get rid of slavery, basically what they did was just arrest a lot of black men, on very flimsy evidence, usually with an all-white jury to convict them, and send them off to do basically hard labour, which is slavery for free. So it never went away. They just changed the name, called them prisoners.
Backdoor slavery.
Yeah.
Which is
So, Ben, why do we need the police? Why do the police exist?
Police exist to protect the rich, Mike. Of course they do.
It's a quote by David Bailey, academic expert on the police in 1996. He says, the police do not prevent crime. This is one of the best kept secrets of modern life. Experts know it, the police know it, but the public does not.
Yeah.
And apparently, the number of potentially indictable criminal acts that end in a successful prosecution sits somewhere between 0.4 and 3.3%. In other words, up to 99.6% of crime is never effectively dealt with by the criminal justice system. And I bet you that's most of fucking white-collar crime, isn't it? Tax evasion, all this shit.
Yeah, that's pretty what most crime is, in all fairness. Tax evasion, fraud, things like that.
But yeah, that's a shocking statistic, isn't it?
It is.
So what is the fucking point of them? If they're not out there catching criminals.
Oh, I'd still rather have them than not have them.
Yeah. I mean...
Well, I think it goes back to how they were formed. I mean, they were formed because of policing needs in Ireland, weren't they, Ben?
Yeah, but Mike, if somebody... Yeah. We'll get into this in a sec, but like, just simple example. I know it's very massive simplification, but this is my simplified brain's take on it. If somebody breaks into my mum's house and murders her, I want to be able to call like a set of people who have some sort of professional standards and expertise and
Yeah, but they've only got a 3.3% maximum.
But what's your
chance of finding
alternative?
it. No, I'm with you completely. I think there needs to be a compromise.
I think that 3% is more serious crime. I mean, we don't have that many murders in the UK compared to other places.
No.
I'd imagine that most crime is literally fraud, tax evasion, stuff like that, and maybe even like low-level sex offences, like having some dodgy shit on your laptop, that kind of stuff.
Drug offences, which is ridiculous.
Drug offences. The major stuff, like murder. So if someone does break into your parents' house and kill them, you should have probably a reasonably good chance of that person being caught and brought to justice.
I mean, I'm not an anthropologist or any of that, obviously, but like, I think there's obviously going to be, like working class people are way more targeted for their crimes because they happen to be sort of somehow, for a weird quirk of life, easily processed crimes and easily done crimes, but crimes that working class people are sort of insistent on committing.
Yeah, but we have to look at how the police, as we know it, were formed, you know, where the history comes from, what were they designed to do. Well, They were designed to basically be used instead of the army, because every time they used the army ended up killing innocent people. It didn't look good, like Peterloo in 1818.
Well, technically, Peterloo was the yeomanry, which would have been middle-class, low aristocracy, young men with horses, and who obviously had to stay for the poor anyway.
Yeah, still an army, though, weren't they, kind of?
They were the reserve, basically, yeah.
Robert Peel, the old British Prime Minister, that's why they're called bobbies.
Our peelers, when they first came out.
Yeah. Well, he used them in Ireland to basically subjugate the Irish citizens that were rebelling against the British occupation.
So did we invent police?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But didn't like, ancient people have some sort of...
1829 it was invented in this country. It was used in Ireland, and then it was official in the UK in 1829, Metropolitan.
Yeah, they used to have massive top hats.
Wasn't there sheriffs before that in America, or am I getting my dates wrong?
You had sheriffs.
1818 and...
You had sheriffs in America, in the West, of course, but that's like a bloke and some deputies. I mean, there's no formal training. It's just he was elected, wasn't he?
Are you saying, like, basically it's an organised force that is, like, trained and... Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the difference between a sheriff and, like, an organised force of people who are like, you're going to train and have a uniform and you're kind of like an army, but not.
Yeah. Do you know what they were first deployed to do?
What's that, bro?
They stamped down on, like, public gambling, drunken behaviour, union organising, the suffrage movement.
Yeah, smash the unions though, mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Basically, anything that the working class wanted, the police were there to put it down.
Well, not a lot's changed. My last interaction with the Popo was they came to our garden to tell us off about a barbecue about 6. I may have discussed this on the pod. I'll keep it brief. They came to lecture us on social distancing. But what made me laugh was they came in the same car. This is right at the height of it. Neither wore masks, and they stood shoulder to shoulder whilst lecturing us on having too many people in our pretty generously big garden. So, yeah. They can't do right for wrong, to be fair. This is the way it goes psychologically. If they're going to do a good job for me and help me out, then they're great, aren't they? Yeah. But when they're going at me, and because which I've had run into them as a professional driver, I'm sort of statistically more likely, with the amount of hours I spend on the road, to run into them as like your average person just living their life is. And I had positive dealings and I had negative dealings, and I had some that were both that started negative, and then as soon as my license came through clear and everything's legit, everything changed, and I was suddenly treated like a regular, a professional with a job. But up to that point, was completely treated like a fucking... I don't know, I was even told to get off because he was a little short ass. So I was stood on a curb. I wasn't stood on it on purpose. That's just where I stood. He was like, get off the curb. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the license came through and his entire demeanour changed. Everything changed.
Aren't you meant to be innocent till proven guilty, Gaz?
Oh, well, yeah. No, it's definitely the other way around. Like, so we had an old van that looked way shitter than the others. It was ancient, like a rust bucket. It did look a bit dodgy, to be fair. But yeah, I was pulled. I can't even remember why I was pulled over. But I drove away from it, so it couldn't have been anything. But yeah, he told me get off the curb.
The last time I spoke to a police officer was when I was in London, and I was in the protest against the cuts.
Oh, okay.
A police officer got to me. It was a lovely day, and he's like, "Oh, you got a lovely day for it." I was like, "It was a Saturday." I'm like, "Mate, I don't want to be here on a Saturday, stood in the street." Do you know what I mean? But this is all I have. It's the only outlet I have that I feel I can make a difference.
Could it be, Mike, that he was just another human being expressing the age-old British art of small talk?
I'm talking about the weather.
Yeah, he picked on the wrong person that day then to speak to.
Yeah,
I had a right go at him.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He's just making small talk. He's reaching. That's what you say to somebody. Nice day for it. If it would have been rainy or overcast, he'd have said, like, "Phew, not looking good, is it? You brought a Mac."
Yeah.
Miserable fucker.
I was miserable and angry, guys. Angry at the
I know
fucking
that's
government.
why you were there, but it's just, to me, that's what I mean. You think that to you, that's a system of oppression. The man saying, "Oh, lovely day for it." Yeah, I don't choose to be here. I'd like to be in some fucking paradise where everything's fucking free and equal and it's all handed out, and instead I'm here protest. You dare to ask me, tell me the weather's okay, motherfucking bastard. Meanwhile,
That's uncanny, guys. Were you there?
He thought, fuck me, you can't win. You reach out to these little bastards. You know what I mean? This is how they're at. Fuck him. And then next time, you've radicalised him, Mike. Because next time, he'll have his baton out and his shield down. You just go, fuck him. I tried speaking to him. I tried reasoning with him.
I think Mike is responsible for police brutality in the UK.
Oh, all these lefties are.
Yeah.
They very rarely beat up the right, do they?
That's a strange thing, that, isn't it? Yeah, is it something to do with them all being white?
It's less common, isn't it?
Yeah. Just briefly, you mentioned free food there, Gaz, like Mike's ideal communist utopia.
Yeah.
There is actually, they were giving away free food. There was a no-cop co-op in the middle of CHAZ. Free food, vegan pizza, hot dog stand that wasn't free, medical centre, mutual aid book, a giant Black Lives Matter mural.
Yeah, the gift economy.
Can you tell me that's honestly better than the town centre? Did you see the state of it, Mike? Tell me that's a more pleasant experience.
Well, this is obviously a failed experiment, isn't it? But it's interesting. It is very interesting.
Oh, it is interesting. It just looked like the Nightmare Bizarro world version of Glastonbury, where everyone had a gun and a knife instead, and it was just a hellscape. It looked to me like a hellscape.
It looked to me like what I'd expect to happen if all the supply links into a major city just got destroyed.
And it makes me sound... It makes me sound conservative, and I know it does, but it's like, I just guess that's the reality of being 37, I suppose. It's just like, I look at that and it looks like a living fucking nightmare to me. All I can think is, imagine being one of them poor bastards stuck in there with a business or an apartment and having no political real leanings. Oh God, they're the people I feel bad for, cut up in all this. But thank fuck they've cleared it out now. Fuck them. Should have been a bit of a more violent clear out, in my opinion, to set a message to the rest of,
Well,
how would a Judge Dredd dealt with that, mate?
Well, he'd have just gone in there and shot everybody.
Well, not unless, no, it wouldn't necessarily, they would have had to commit certain crimes, but they could have used things like they've got, like foam walls, foam bombs, riot foam. It's like a bomb that they fire at a crowd of people, it just freezes them all into a wall. I think they might die after that, but...
I mean, there was a lot of misinformation about CHOP because obviously the people in charge, so CHAZ, the people in charge don't want that, do they? They don't want people saying, "Oh, well, you know what? Here's some. It's the gift economy. Oh, hey, take this, give it out to people. There's no police." And then imagine for some parts of it, it was quite pleasant. But when you start having, the Proud Boys who are like a racist organisation start trotting in and basically just stirring trouble up, is when it seemed to go more militant.
Is that confirmed though? 100%.
I don't think it's 100%, but neither was the misinformation about someone with a gun standing at the front of the crowd. That was 2 cropped shots from Fox News. They basically made fake news.
And I bet you everything I own it was undercover FBI and CIA.
They weren't letting reporters in.
It would have still gone to shit, man.
I watched this video earlier. It was a reporter in. He must have gone in the early days because they weren't letting him in after a while. And this guy was just sort of shadowing him constantly. And he was like, every time this guy went to ask someone a question, he'd just step in and go, no, we're not answering any questions. I mean, even to the point where he must have managed to lose him for a bit. There's this guy with spiky hair who looks the least. He looks like fucking 10 stone soaking wet, with a plastic fucking shield on his arm, homemade shield, standing at the barricades. He's like, oh, nothing happened yet. I've been here 12 hours. Nothing's happened yet. Yeah, fucking hell. Why you stood there manning barricades? What did you expect to achieve by that if the police do roll in?
I know I'm not the first one to point this out. It's a bit of a boomer thing to say, as Twitter would say, but it is funny that the people who hated Trump's every word and policy, the first thing they did was make boundaries and walls. And it just shows the hypocrisy of all of it, of every system and of every ideology. You can't live in this world and not be hypocritical in some way. It's like, I'd love change, but I think I am becoming conservative because it's scary. Because like Mike, you said to me, I like the status quo. And I think the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, don't smash it too much. Smash it a bit. Honestly, this is my honest...
Yeah, fair enough. Should we go through what their aims were? What their aims are?
Just it's only a brief... I'm just saying, smash it a bit. I don't want anyone to smash it to smithereens completely so the world becomes unrecognisable and up down it all, because I don't want that.
Well, they're saying there's another way. aworldwithoutpolice.org.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, given the fact that there has been at least several shootings and people are dead...
Let's see. I'll have an open mind, Mike. I'll hear it.
Let's go through what their aims are and what they want to achieve.
We can rely on each other rather than the police. Anytime we call the police for help, we risk someone we know being hurt or killed. But if we develop lines of communication, opportunities for self-education and collective conflict resolution in many different settings, we can start to exclude the police from our lives. Instead of police mediating our conflicts, we can begin resolving them themselves. No, that's not going to happen.
Now, how about this for an idea? Yeah, all police officers should be trained as a social worker and trained in mental health and trained in all these sort of things.
Yeah, that would be lovely. That would be a lovely idea. But then they still, Mike, though, need to know some jiu-jitsu to take a motherfucker down.
I'm not saying you don't. Yeah, I'm not saying you don't need it. It's like in the UK, we've got our rapid response with they're trained in the use of weapons. That's fair enough. There are occasions, unfortunately, in this world where psychos run amok.
Of course.
Yeah.
No,
but I don't want my local police officer carrying a gun.
No, neither do I. Guns make me incredible. When I went to Milan, I've told this story before. When I went to Milan, and the police have them in a hip holster with basically one tiny little leather strap and like a press stud, just on the hip. And they're so Italian, they're sat around like eating pastries and smoking, and I kept saying to Hannah, like, I was getting paranoid, probably because I was on a lot of drugs, but I kept saying, like, I'm not used to this. I was like, what is to stop me just flipping that little flip stud up and just taking his death machine, because that's what they are. Yeah. They're machines created to cause death in humans. Why is to stop someone just taking it off him? It's just on his hip. I saw a male and a female police officer in a police car next to a busy park with the seats laid back, having a snooze with their shades on. They've got death machines.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand why, the UN get together and ban all guns.
It makes me uncomfortable to see them. I would like to shoot one on a range and be, that's all well and good. And I know, Ben, you're going to go on a good, positive gun rant in a minute. But I'm just saying, realistically, I don't have to pretend that when I'm realistic, have been faced with them in my life and seen them in that way, they made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't think any civilized society should allow them. It's barbaric. It's crazy.
I sat there and I watched. I've told you this story before, but it's worth telling, man, because I think it's the most Italian thing in history. I saw a police officer with a gun, a death machine on his hip, and their holsters are white against their blue uniform, like white leather. So it showed that. So I was sort of sat opposite him, and my attention's drawn to it. And like, he's literally eating a pastry, right? But he's got a lit cigarette in the other hand. What the fuck? What's to stop just somebody going nuts in there and taking it off him and like going mad with it?
Yeah, it's possible.
What could he do? What would he put down first, of the lovely pastry or the cigarette? He wouldn't know what to do, would he?
Well, Italian guys will put the pastry down first.
Yeah, of course. And take care of it. I'll come back to you later. If anyone will step on you, I kill them. Yeah, so they make me uncomfortable. So my point was, I don't want our police to have them. But Joe Rogan, I know I always come back to him, but it's one of the main podcasts I listen to, so it's an influence. He's a martial arts expert. He believes police should be, like you said, Mike, as a flip side to what you said, yes, they should be maybe trained in social work and psychology and all of that. But on the flip side, Joe thinks they should be fully trained in jiu-jitsu, not just the sort of low-level bullshit training they're given. They should actually understand, like be experts in controlling someone's body and restraining somebody.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yanking on someone's head or neck because they're scared and panicked, and you know,
that should be a last resort. Any sort of contact with somebody, it should be the last resort. You got to use everything else in your disposal.
It doesn't go that way.
It doesn't always go that way, but I bet you if they were trained better in calming people down, like a social worker would be, then do you know what I mean? Show more empathy. I think a lot of things would be de-escalated.
Well, apparently, but to get back to that, apparently being a very competent jiu-jitsu proponent gives you a level of confidence where you don't rush into unnecessary physical confrontations.
Yeah.
Because you're not shitting yourself, because you know if it does go that way, you probably can handle it. You're less likely to just escalate it, because they're shitting themselves most of the time.
I'll give you an example in this country. Do you remember the footballer Dalian Atkinson?
Yeah, in our town.
Yeah, scored a wonder goal. Well, scored a few wonder goals in the Prem in his time.
I know his nephew.
Do you?
I do, yes. I won't say his name.
So you know the story then, don't you?
I know what happened to him, definitely, yeah.
He was upset. He had mental health issues, didn't he?
Yeah. Mike, you said wonder goal, but to tell the listener, just fill in a bit. He scored a wonder goal because he was a top-level professional football player, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Played for Aston Villa in the 90s, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, and the police turned up, and obviously he was distraught, and they just tasered him, and he died. Now, if they'd had better training, maybe they would have been able to de-escalate that.
Yeah.
They're just going straight in and tasering the fucker.
And to be fair, I remember when I read the story, I remember thinking they won't get done, but they did get actually.
Did they?
I think they were at least fired. They weren't necessarily tucked away and given a desk job, as you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Somebody can look that up, but I do remember reading there was comeuppance for them.
They don't get much comeuppance in America. I remember that when George Floyd died, they prosecuted the police officers, and that was the first time it had happened.
It was very rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Extremely rare. Well, I think they were forced. They were. It's been a world-changing event. I know some people haven't understood. I was having this conversation earlier. It's crazy. It's quite funny. The guy who was showing me to use the chainsaw, he's sort of 10 years younger than us. Somehow Black Lives Matter came up when he was like, "What do you think of that?" And I said, "Well, it's hard, isn't it?" I said, "From my position as a white guy, the position I've taken is basically the people that say all lives matter. I've basically taken the position of trying to explain why. Yes, okay, of course, obviously they do, but it's black lives that are in a little bit more danger than ours. So nobody's saying your life doesn't matter. Don't get defensive. It's just this is what it means." And he said to me, "Joe, I've had this argument with my dad. My dad's like, all lives matter." I'm like, it's an age thing, man. I'm like, everyone in that age bracket for some reason takes it on a fucking, well, not everyone, that's being massively judgmental, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so many people in that age range take that immediate defensive stance of like, well, all lives matter. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, until their refugees wanted to come over for a safe place.
Yeah, exactly. It's It's insecurity, man, and defensiveness, and not wanting to really face reality. And I can understand it. That's why I don't judge. I'm like, I get it, man. I live in a bubble. I keep my head firmly in the soil. If it weren't for Twitter, I would have no idea. I basically look what's trending, occasionally dip my toe to see, oh, why is that trending? And if it weren't for that, I'm completely free of mainstream media and even alternative media. I'm free of everything at the moment. I'm living in a fucking bubble. And in some ways that's good, and in other ways it's bad.
Second, we can build fighting organisations against police violence. These could include groups specifically geared towards monitoring police conduct or challenging their legitimacy in our communities.
I'm definitely up for that. More, what do you call it?
A watchdog, basically.
Yeah, better watchdog.
Do you remember the Guardian Angels in New York?
Yeah.
The only way I know about them is because when the big boss man went to the WCW, he couldn't be the big boss man anymore, so he became the Guardian Angel, and he wore like a red beret.
That's right, they were red berets,
a kind of uniform, and they were apparently a sort of, how would you explain it, Ben? A sort of, not quite vigilante.
They had no powers. They basically just sort of chased people off if they caught them doing something, I guess. Wasn't there a thing of massive... Oh, there's a bit of a crime spree going on at the time, wasn't it, New York?
Yeah.
There was a lot of... I'm not sure if there was, like, a serial rapist or certainly some kind of killer on the loose, but they were, like, escorting people to places, to and from places and things like that, making sure women on their own were escorted and got to places.
That's more the kind of thing that you're talking about, isn't it, Mike? Like, I'm sorry to bring it back to wrestling, but that's the only way I ever heard of them, but that is the kind of...
Sorry, I was a bit... I wasn't listening there. What did you say?
The Guardian Angels. They were apparently a group. We were trying to...
Quasi-police.
They had no powers, but they were a civilly organised group, but they had a uniform, and they sort of, Ben was saying, helped and patrolled people to say, because New York was a bit crime-infested at the time, but they obviously couldn't arrest people or detain people, but maybe they did hold on to people for the police, I don't know, but
you can do a citizen's arrest.
That would be a good idea, yeah.
But they had a uniform. They were called the Guardian Angels.
Sounds good.
But then a CSO though, isn't that just a CSO? CSOs
Pretty
get
much,
terrorised by gangs of teenagers, follow them up the street just saying "fuck you, buddy." To explain to the international listener, what's a CSO, Ben?
Community support officer. They have no real powers, but they look like a policeman. Or police officer, sorry. They're pretty, apart from their shoulder flashes, which says CSO instead of a police number, they look exactly like them. And they are supposed to be a deterrent, and they are at a distance until you get closer and realise that they're just like you and I.
Doesn't help that it's plastered across their back.
It is across their back, yeah.
It doesn't say police, it says community support officer.
But if you're at a distance, you can't tell that. All you see is the blue flash on the back.
It might work if you're 9. I feel sorry for them. I think they're an incredibly pointless institution. They're basically glorified traffic wardens. They literally do parking tickets. They're glorified traffic wardens.
Yeah, but you can expand them then to do more community work, better, whatever you need to do.
Mike, an army of them couldn't solve all the knife crime in Sutton Hill. With all their non-powers.
No, but I tell you what will. Eradicating poverty.
No, I don't think it's that easy.
It is.
I just think
it is.
There's always a percentage of people in any society who are going to be criminals, whether they're poverty or not.
Yeah.
Some people just like to fucking steal and kill.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike, if you give a
1%.
cunt, if there's a cunt who's living in poverty and you suddenly give him a load of money, is he suddenly magically going to not be a murderer?
Obviously not. It's going to affect the next generations, isn't it? They're not going to be born into poverty.
Oh.
But if you look at all the charts, poverty and inequality
cause crime.
is the main cause, eh?
They cause crime. If you haven't got something, you can't get it, and you want it, you take it.
Of course, inequality as well. You look at them rich fuckers, and they've got everything. I've got nothing. Do you know what I mean? If you get rid of poverty and you lower inequality, everything points to that being the way forward.
I have quite a dim view of humans as a society in general. I don't think it might take a lot of time to get this into a point.
It's going to be a multi-generational thing, but it doesn't mean you can't start now. You can't try.
Well, you have to smash the system first, Mike. It's too firmly entrenched.
Well, that's it. Well, what else are they saying here?
Cop-free zones in our communities. Once we are strong enough to solve social problems ourselves and confront police impunity, this will involve reclaiming public spaces to air grievances, imagine alternatives, and socialise while challenging the fragmentation that capitalism produces and police enforce. They could begin as temporary no-cop zones and expand into semi-permanent occupations that a community holds, supports, and defends.
Yeah, get rid of capitalism, that'll solve all our problems.
Yes, comrade. So to depower the police, some concrete ideas they have. Develop community phone trees and rapid response networks to relay important information, alert folks to various things that are going on, really.
Okay.
Study and share conflict mediation skills so that minor beefs like noise complaints can be settled between neighbours without involving the police.
Yep.
Build
good.
Survivor-led groups to defend against domestic violence and sexual assault. Fight against eviction. Encourage neighbours to refuse to talk to the police when they come snooping around the neighbourhood. Build neighbourhood networks to intervene in police activity wherever it happens. Creating a collective culture of resistance. Build women, queer and trans-led groups to defend ourselves against street harassment and, I'm reading this from the article, queer bashing. When we're able to defend ourselves, we won't have to rely on the same police who harass us in times of crisis. God, there's got to be something about the trans people, hasn't there?
They're people too.
They are people too, but it's like, just don't stop throwing it down my fucking neck.
Yeah, but they're getting harassed just like the black people, aren't they?
Sorry. Stop throwing it down your neck. Sorry.
I mean, it is everywhere I look. Why has there got to be a trans-led group? Why can't it just be a bunch of people working towards the same goal?
Well, luckily, Ben, you don't have the problem of trans hate directed towards you, do you?
I do have to live with it every day, Mike.
Well, look, I don't hate an individual group of trans people. I just think if you want to do it, it's like stop bothering me. Go and do what you want. Why have you got to make a bit? Oh, I'm trans and proud. Well, good for you. But stop fucking telling me all the time.
Look, I'm an equal opportunity as fuck you person, so fuck them as well as everyone else. Let's finish off this CHAZ shit.
Organise campaigns to repeal repressive police policies, prevent the construction of police stations, support a militant protest culture, so I assume that involves fighting the police if it's militant, wage campaigns to remove police from schools. I'd imagine in America you'd want someone with a fucking gun in a school who isn't going to shoot the kids, wouldn't you? Yeah. Protest and shut down police recruitment campaigns, oppose police institutions using schools, so educate the kids more, basically. Join with co-workers to disrupt material support for police departments or refuse service to cops. That's a bit harsh. Demand the labour unions disaffiliate from police unions. Within existing job-related organisations, develop the collective's capacity to defend against police repression. And study and develop strategies and tactics for outmanoeuvring the police when you need to defend picket lines, building occupations, or other protest actions. That to me sounds very militant. If you're developing strategies and tactics for outmanoeuvring them when you need to defend
makes
something.
sense, doesn't it? We want to protest and they're not allowing us. Yeah, it's the right to protest.
It is the right to protest, but if they're sort of making a line to keep you in a certain area and you're then flanking them and getting behind them and doing whatever, who knows?
Well, I'm just saying they shouldn't be stopping people protesting anyway.
I can only speak for Britain because I haven't seen a protest in America, but I've been on a couple in Britain. I've never seen the police stopping anything. I mean,
not in this country, no, not as bad.
They've walked alongside, which is fair enough. I don't mind that bit of protection. But our police aren't that bad compared to American police.
Well, this is it. You see, you're thinking from an Englishman's point of view. It ain't as bad. They aren't allowing them to protest. That's a problem. Like the Chinese in Hong Kong.
It did, and Donnie went to that church for that photo op.
Yeah.
And he was like, and they literally just tear gassed the people having a peaceful protest so we could get a photo op, and then he held the Bible upside down, which if that's not a mark of the Antichrist, guys, I don't know what is. So you can't just go tear gassing people for basically the fun of it.
Yeah.
And some of these points, I think, are good ideas. Some of them.
Yeah,
I think some of it. I think a lot of this is pie in the sky.
I'm with you, Ben. I'm torn, man.
Okay, here are some ways to begin disarming the police. Close the pipeline between the military and the police. Definitely.
I must admit, the American police in particular look like soldiers now when they're on a
Because
riot.
they've become financially militarized because they've been sold ex-military tanks. They've been painted black.
Yeah.
It's a secondary market of selling off ex-US military fucking vehicles and weaponry. It's nuts.
It is.
Yeah.
They got ATVs.
Yeah, and it's the military-industrial complex, isn't it? Obviously, the forever war is slowly winding down at the moment because terrorism's vanished with COVID, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's just gone. It's gone away, that. I'd forgotten about it, to be honest. And because that's sort of wound down at the moment, I suppose, there is a lot of surplus kit lying about that the police are going to buy.
We can only have one threat at a time, Ben. That's all we can handle as a populace.
Oh, man. That's a shitter. Sorry, Mike, go on.
Okay, expose and denounce political repression, including the use of paid informants, undercover officers, and social media monitoring of activists by police departments.
Okay.
Yep. Look, you've got a right to assemble a group of people, like-minded people, in privacy, and talk about what you want to talk about without having the cops infiltrate your organisation.
Oh, yeah. There's fucking hell, yeah, Michael Moore found out 9/11. This old guy goes to the gym, goes there a few times a week, and someone says, "Oh, what about Bush?" Eh? And he goes, "Well, I think he's a bit of a dick. I didn't vote for him." Next thing you know, he's got the police knocking on his door 2 days later, saying, "I think you've been saying bad things about the president and the government.
Fuck.
You could be a terrorist sympathiser."
Yeah.
There was a book club in some bumfuck fucking town in America, and then this guy came a couple of times, and we all sat around, and we didn't really we talked about the books. We had nibbles. Sometimes it was a little bit political, but conversation, but nothing sort of over the top. And then no one saw him for a while. Then they realised he was a sheriff's deputy. He'd been killed in a car accident. He was undercover.
Huh.
That's you got to report pensions in book clubs, and something's going wrong.
Yeah, and I've heard stories of undercover cops having a family with people undercover, married and having children. Do you know what I mean? And then when they're pulled out later...
That's my honest... Mike, you're ticking on. That's literally my dream. Like the movie. I want to be an undercover cop to the level where I become top-level gangster, but I'm also... That is my dream. Yeah. That's my dream. I know I'll get killed in a horrifically way, but what a life I will live.
See, yeah, I like that, but I just think that's like every undercover cop is an actor, and that is just a deep commitment to your trade if you're doing two families.
Yeah.
And the thing is, immoral is what it is, isn't it? It's immoral.
You don't have to commit that hard. You could get out of it, but you
all right.
That's why I want to cross the lines. I want to be the ultimate undercover cop. I just want to take it. I want to Donnie Brasco, mate. I look like fucking, I don't know, Donald Duck.
Well, if they have it their way, Gaz, you won't be able to because they'll be gone.
Fuck up. Look, all I'm saying is, if you're there and you're in some gang and some mob, and the boss's daughter takes a shine to you, and if you reject him, he's probably going to have your kneecaps broken. You're not going to reject her, even if you are married back in the real world. This is you. I'm just Benny Carteroni at this point.
I'll be the boss's daughter's bestest husband she could ever wish for.
Exactly.
Because I will reject the police side of it. I'll go so deep they'll never get to me.
Balls deep.
Balls deep. I will lose contact. They will lose contact with me. I will go so deep, man. Either that or I want to be the type of detective, and they do exist in England. I've seen them in Birmingham. They drive like a streetcar, right? And they wear street clothes with a stab vest and a badge.
Yeah, they're cool.
They exist. I want to be one of them. But if I was
You
one of
usually
them,
get like a really
be
cool
most-
3/4 length coat too.
yeah, but I'd be the most bent one you'd ever met, Ben. I would so on the take, drugs, oh God, everything, running drugs, guns, all of it.
Hey, Gaz, should we join the police?
I thought about being a community support officer. I saw the application and I thought, nah, have a word with yourself, son. Daily basis.
Go ahead, Mike.
Study and share security techniques for activists, including practical methods of preventing internet surveillance and decreasing the likelihood and effectiveness of infiltration. Launch campaigns to remove police weapons in specific settings, such as schools, hospitals, and ultimately on street patrol. Protest local, city, and state budget appropriations for police forces and work to defund the police. This will disrupt departments' ability to buy weapons, hire more officers, and make the job desirable by providing pay incentive.
Right.
Nice idea.
It's all nice ideas. I don't know it's going to work. Disbanding the police. The popo. Okay, so here's some steps to disband the police. Transform how we think about crime, conflict, and identity.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense, I suppose. Crime talk can be used. It's like crime watch in this country, used to be on. They race or a white person on there,
I've always thought it barbaric. I mean, I'm not saying it's not necessary. Certainly in some instances it definitely is, but it's a bit barbaric, is it, just shoving someone in a cage 23 hours a day?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Depends on the crimes, if you ask me.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying that it's not necessary. And it is necessary in some circumstances to protect that person and other people out in society, but just as a concept, it is barbaric, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah. I definitely agree with that.
Sorry, Ben, go on.
Fight to disband particular police units when they're involved in scandals. That makes sense. I would go with that. If a unit's got a bad history, it should be disbanded and everyone's sacked.
Yeah.
Decommission police precincts when they're being threatened by funding shortages or demographic changes or by popular protest. Organise to drive police forces out of specific institutions, such as schools or hospitals, and replacing them with private security. But I'd rather have a policeman who's been trained.
With that one. I don't agree with that one. We don't want private police. No, forget that. Next one.
Blackwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's you. If you brought private security in, they'd just be policemen who've been made redundant.
Yeah. And they're not accountable to the local community.
Exactly.
That's it.
Absolute nightmare. No way.
Demolish the political power of police unions.
Okay,
Yeah. And once the movement is strong enough, disband police forces entirely in democratic, self-governing areas and replace them with systems of community safety and conflict resolution.
Well, that's the last one in a biggie, isn't it?
Well, that's the one that's maybe, 100 years down the line, because I can't see that happening anytime
But
soon.
is it ever possible?
No.
Maybe,
No.
maybe not.
No.
I don't know. But
if you took away all the guns and all the weapons, then yes. But some people are just twats. Some people will always break the law. Some people will always be scallies. And you're always going to need someone to stop those people doing that. Whether that's vigilante-style mobs, whether that's a man in a uniform, whether it's just someone beating the shit out of them to teach them a lesson, someone's got to do it.
Well, I don't agree with beating the shit out of them to teach them a lesson. That doesn't teach them
Depends
anything.
what they've done.
No.
I am the law.
Yes. I'm going to both shock and surprise you. I don't agree with any of this. I think society is too shit, and I just think the police need to really just better screen their applicants and train them properly, so they're not shitting their pants every time they pull someone over.
They should be
Train
more
them.
accountable.
All right, then, should we...
Make them more accountable. Be aware that you are not above the law. You are the law, but not above it.
Hang on, Ben. I know this is a bit draconian, but I have to bring it back to fact because I don't watch the real news. My world has been, for the last few weeks, 2000 AD comics and wrestling. The judges are, every move they make is being monitored and seen by Central at all times. Everything they do. Nothing's under the radar unless they do something dodgy to get under the radar. Everyone's accountable. And so excellence is like rewarded and promoted and pushed. Is that the way to go without the gun, without the murder and the on the spot death penalties? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
you're making
level
sure only the best people are in that position.
Yeah, a level of absolute excellence and accountability, man. Because if anyone gets overweight, it falls behind any slight category as a judge in that world, they're gone. And back in the day, and I sound like a fucking old man now, but my mum and dad used, because this used to get said to me, because I was taught, I've been the height I am now since about year 10-ish. Not far off. That's why I was so good at basketball and that shit. And people, you know, a common thing that was said to me by older people, you should join the police.
Yeah.
Because I was taught. Because there used to be a height limit, didn't there?
They did. It used to be over 6 foot something, or over 6'3". I'm not sure. Something like that it used to be.
So that's my point. Instead of a height limit, maybe there should be a moral limit, a spiritual limit, a personality
just an intelligence limit, I think.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Just a higher accountability.
Do you know that the police in America actually have a IQ limit? If you're considered too smart, they won't accept you.
That's funny. Is that a true fact?
That is so true, mate. That is so true, honestly. Because some guy did one of the tests. He wanted to be a police officer, so he sued them. And he lost in court. They said that the police...
They said, yeah, you're too
can
smart.
hire who they want.
You're too smart for this, man.
Yeah.
You won't do it.
They don't want them thinking. They just want them...
Well, it's essentially, like
shooting.
You said, a sort of soft army, isn't it?
It is.
It's the same structure, the same top-down, isn't it?
It is.
There's units, there's sergeants, there's, you know, and up the ladder it goes.
Yep. And what if the guy at the top's corrupt?
And there's the potential to climb the ladder too as a career man if you don't want to just be a street cop forever, a beat cop. Like remember in Lethal Weapon 3 when they get busted down to beat cop?
Yeah.
Boom. Right? You could be happy with that for a life, or you could be someone who wants to climb the ladder. How do you climb the ladder in any world where there's monetary reward, power reward? Shortcuts, and it just happens that in the world of policing, those shortcuts are other people's freedoms and health and self-respect. But should we wrap the CHAZ thing up?
I was just going to say, you know, regardless of whatever anyone thinks of the police as a whole, I think the one thing we can agree on is that basically no one should be getting their neck knelt on for 9 minutes.
Oh, definitely not.
In any stretch of the imagination by a police officer, because that's quite frankly not on.
I think the whole entire Western world kind of united in agreement on that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll take you back to CHAZ and look at some other autonomous zones that have existed or do exist at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is quite interesting, man.
Okay, there's one in Sri Lanka called the Sarvodaya Shramadana movement.
All right, I'm glad
well done, Mike.
That one out. Yeah. It is a self-governance movement in Sri Lanka which provides comprehensive development and conflict resolution programs to villages.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. It was in 1958 it was actually set up, and it's still going.
Cool.
The aim is to provide a list of 10 basic needs to all villagers. 1, a clean environment. 2, adequate supply of water. 3, clothing. 4, nutritious food. 5, shelter. 6, healthcare. 7, communication. 8, fuel and lighting. 9, access to education. And 10, cultural and spiritual performance.
You missed porn off.
That could be cultural.
I suppose it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's fair enough. It's very nice of them.
Yeah, and there's 600 villages now a part of this movement. Not strictly an autonomous zone, but basically they help each other
Well, yeah.
to meet them 10 needs. There's one in Fajuve in Bolivia, and that's got 600 neighbourhoods
Is
that
that
provide...
Wow.
Okay, this is mutual assistance, yeah?
Yeah, provide public services, construction and jobs to citizens of this town in Bolivia. Created in 1957. The councils have 200 members that meet once a month and make decisions through discussion and consensus. The council has been successful in blocking the Bolivian government's plan to privatise natural gas and water reserves, introduce new taxes, and have been successful in creating the city's first public university.
Oh, that's cool.
Unfortunately, law and order is a bit of a problem.
Here we
But
go.
in response to the violence and corruption of Bolivia's state police, Fajuve had created its own justice system. Councils act as mediators between minor disputes with neighbours and practice a degree of restorative justice based upon traditional customs. Communities also form collective self-defence groups which are known to execute thieves, rapists and murderers whilst hanging dolls outside of the houses of victims as a warning to any future attackers.
Oh,
See, that's the kind of justice I like.
I did say that,
isn't it?
I did say they had a bit of a problem with law and order. Not one of the positives to come out of that one.
Yeah, no. Fucking
I'm
hell.
fully down for that one.
I'd rather call PC blood. I really would. I know but he's not going to fucking scalp me and make a voodoo doll out of me cock. I
There's
hope.
the Korean People's Association in Manchuria, or KPAM, from August 1929 to September 1931. The society was constructed upon principles of stateless communism operating within the framework of gift economy based upon mutual aid.
Manchuria, you say?
Yeah,
1931 it ended.
yeah,
So they all got butchered by the Chinese, the Japanese invasions then.
probably, yeah. But there was 2 million people, apparently, in this experiment.
Yeah.
They focused on meeting the material needs of the people and each other, part of coming together of a nationalist and anarchist people as well as Korean peasants, in partial response to hostilities from Imperial Japan and Chinese nationalist forces.
There you go, told you. The Japanese rock up.
They had giveaway shops, worker cooperatives, democratic schools, and regional councils were created.
And giant bats!
The
Giant bats!
KPAM operated without currency, private property, and any kind of class structure. And it worked perfectly for 2 years, apparently, before the
Wow.
Japanese and Chinese came.
How long has the places that do have a class structure been working? Just out of curiosity.
Well, is it working, guys? It's working for them at the top. It's not
It's
working for the
working for you,
90%.
Hey, it's working for you, innit?
Just about.
You got a house. It's working for me. I'm not on the street yet. Ben, you're not on the street
Yeah.
No.
yet. Not yet, anyway.
Might work for streets now and again, but you know.
It's working for us, isn't it? Could it not be argued?
To an extent, yeah.
I mean, but it could be better.
Oh, I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just being devil's advocate and
I
saying
know.
it could not. It could be said, could it not, that we actually, we're quite lucky to be where we are. Well, not quite lucky. We're fucking extreme lucky to be where we are in
Of
Britain.
course. Of course.
Jeez, we're born in one of them shithole countries, Mike.
Yeah, but
Jeez,
50%
imagine.
of the population are on the breadline or starving.
Oh, I know, yeah, but fuck that.
So
they
we are very lucky. We are extremely lucky.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's.
Are you
Oh,
fucking
guys,
Tory?
I do not believe that. I am not that.
Yeah.
Don't
I don't.
fucking-
I don't want to live in a world where
Not true.
what we have relies on the exploitation of the people underneath us.
We live in
Which
a
is
world where the government takes away your bootstraps, then says pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
joke. I don't mean it. I really don't, listener. It's an in-joke, to be fair, but yeah, no. this CHAZ thing, to try and, like...
Yeah, you wrap it up now.
I see where they're coming from. I really do. All jokes aside, it's like, wow, it's incredibly impressive, and it's like, I wouldn't have the balls to do what they're doing. But on the other hand, I can also see the comedy of it falling apart and going the way it went, because, you know, it's the ideas are great, but, oh, God, I hate to bring it up again because I'm not obsessed. Remember I mentioned last recording my cult membership of Jim Cornette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of his sayings is, just because you cut your ear off, don't fucking make your Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I agree.
though in theory, that might be a really good thing. Yeah, abolish the police, and we could. And they did on those 6 blocks. But should they have? Because people got raped. Not many. A handful. People got shot, murdered. Businesses got destroyed. What did it achieve, really? Should they have? I'm just saying. I'm
well,
not
in hindsight, you probably say no. Yeah,
I'm posing the question.
Yeah, I would say.
What did they get to in the end?
Well,
Have
didn't
they
get
not
anywhere.
galvanised the right?
Quite possibly. But you know, people act irrationally when they're under pressure, and these people are under pressure, and it's just a vent, isn't it? And this is what came of it. It was an experiment. It failed. But,
God bless them for trying, though, man.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Because there was people in there really, really trying. From videos I saw, there were people really trying to turn it into some kind of hippie. I know, Ben, it might make your skin crawl and that, but it was like a real hippie paradise of education and art and expression and freedom. But then there was also people in there exploiting the fuck out of it.
Exactly. That's what everything humanity touches turns to shit.
Yes!
I think it's the best
The most
way you can
profound
sum it up.
thing you've ever said, Ben. The most true thing you've ever said, me. It is bang on it. It's such a lovely idea. It should have worked, but the fault, the little loose screw, the faulty part that was going to fuck the entire machine up was humans.
Yeah.
American humans, specifically. You know? And I'm not being shitty, but come on. It does factor into it, the way they're raised and the pledge of allegiance to the Constitution and the people that reject that and the way it's gone tribal as shit and the guns and specifically, this was such an American story. I know these places have existed elsewhere more successfully, maybe even less successfully, but this particular version was as American as apple pie.
Yeah, and I agree that there has to be some sort of police reforms, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't reform them. I'm not saying don't change things. Do all that. It can only make society a better place. But you're still going to need the police.
Yeah.
You're going to need some form of police. Hopefully not a private one, because that will be a fucking nightmare.
No, fuck that. I'll stand by what I said. I think hold them to higher professional standards. However you do that, I don't know how much money that takes, industry-wide, training changes, whatever. Just hold them to higher professional standards. Give them better training. Yep. Surely is the first point of call. Rather than breaking them down and smashing it all down, it's like, I think, realistically, let's make them better. Because they're not all shit, are they? It's a personality thing, and maybe some people need a bit more training than others. And blah, blah, blah.
It's interesting, though, isn't it, that only 0.4 to 3.3% of crime is ever solved.
But is that really a reflection on them, or a reflection on the size of fucking society and the amount of fucking crime committed?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? I find myself strangely in the position of defending them, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. I really am, because I'm not a big fan of the police. I've had bad experiences with them personally, but I would rather have them in my society, but I would like them to be a little better.
Yeah, less powers maybe.
Yeah, just way more just way more training.
We've gone through some of the stuff, haven't we?
Yeah, we've repeated. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, man. Weird news.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, let's do weird news, man.
All right, so let's end the show on some weird news.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
I'll start then. Big Brother is watching. Facial recognition camera system named Orwell to be installed in all 43,000 schools in Russia. That's impressive. All Russian schools will soon be equipped with face recognition cameras with the stated aim of protecting the safety of children by tracking a child's comings and goings in school, as well as by identifying visitors.
It's just the beginning, this, isn't it?
Wow.
Mass surveillance.
Yeah, the video recording equipment will be hooked up to a platform called Orwell, a surveillance system with the ability to perform face recognition.
Taking the piss, they're just trolling us now. What a fucking Orwell.
Fucking hell, yeah.
That's a nice, innocent name. Doesn't mean anything.
No. That wasn't chosen by accident or anything like that, was it?
No.
There's a cool headline here where Russia's National Guard launches a blimp to spot COVID-19 lockdown violators.
Oh, fuck yeah.
More blimp spies. That's what I want. I don't want spy satellites and facial recognition. I want blimps everywhere.
I like the word blimp.
Yeah, me too. Blimp.
It's not as good as blancmange.
No, I want to bring back blimp.
I think I'm going to have to let the cat out. That's not a euphemism. Right, gentlemen, please continue.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
Come on.
A bit scary.
Come on. Good.
A bit.
Yeah, a bit scary. I don't like this facial recognition stuff.
No.
I should be able to go anywhere incognito. That's my thing. If I want to be incognito, I'll go incognito. Then again, I'm wearing a mask if I have to go out, so I guess I am kind of
I was going to say,
vigilante.
When I go out, I wear someone else's face, so it doesn't matter.
There's a lot of questions to be asked there, Mike.
Moving on.
I'm not sure where I want to start.
Moving on.
No. Whose face is it? Where did you get the face?
A faceless man.
Well, he's no good, is he?
Well, he's faceless now.
I was going to say, if you got your face on the faceless man, is that just like you're wearing a pillowcase over your head? You don't want to do that, mate.
He's only recently become the faceless man.
Oh, right.
I've said too much.
Right.
Come in, boys. I'm coming. Woo!
I hope he means about coming back.
Yes. We did it. Look,
I hope the cat come as well.
You got to understand. Hey, so when the cat decides it's time to go downstairs, it's a bit of a mission. If I ignore her, I don't want to like getting halfway and going, oh fuck it, I'm gonna shit here. Yeah. So anyway, it's all good. This is fine. Leave it all in. This is good content. Real life.
What is the cat's name?
Well, it's called Rolly, but alright, I'll go slight bit of backstory. You're allowed to bubble with another household, aren't you?
Yeah.
My landlord is about 50 years old. His oldest friend lives down south. He has decided to bubble with us and move up with us. But he has a 6-year-old son who's autistic. But he's sound as fuck, honestly. But one of his favorite. Have you heard of a game called Roblox?
No.
It's a kid. If you had kids, you'd have heard it. Honestly, it's a kids game where like you build things with blocks. Roblox. But instead of saying Rolly, he doesn't say Rolly, he says Roblox. That's what he calls the cat. So I'm thinking I'm going to change the name to Roblox. It's just cooler.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, man, this might sound like a really dodgy thing to say, but this kid makes autism look like the greatest thing on earth. If I could be as happy as this kid was when he's happy, I don't think I've ever been as happy as this kid is by just like the sound of music or just like a funny picture or something. Like he's just like laughs his ass off, man. He falls over from laughing. It's awesome, man. He's a really happy little dude. So yeah. Anyway, what the fuck?
I remember reading somebody's. They went on a journey anyway in the 70s to find themselves. They ended up in Afghanistan. Probably not the best place to be.
No,
even back then.
Or any time.
But he was at this village. And there was this one kid, this one young boy, like teenager, and he was blind. He was like autistic, disabled, but he was like the happiest person that he'd ever met. always smiling, always laughing, and he couldn't believe it. It's like,
Yeah.
I was waiting for a punchline then.
No, it's just.
No, there is no. We can be genuine every now and then, Ben. I'm living in a large house, so like there's room for my friend's friend and his son to come and stay. But for me, having this kid in the house over the last week, it's been a nice change of atmosphere and pace, man. Because he's just such a happy little dude. Don't get me wrong, though. When he loses it, he fucking loses it. That's part of the autism thing, I think. When he's not happy, but it's cool. Not as often. You get this image, I think, I don't know where I've got it from. Maybe I watched too many Louis Theroux documentaries, but get this image of him being in the negative way all day. But no, man, that's few and far between. For the most part, it's just like, I look at him and I'm like, fucking hell, man, fucking be that happy.
Yeah.
For half an hour.
Well, that's what this bloke thought. He thought, if this kid, born to poverty, all his disabilities, you know, he just believes in God and thinks God loves him, therefore, if it's brilliant. And he was like, well, if that kid could be happy, then why aren't I happy? Do you know what I mean? It made him think about his own life.
Did you say this was the 70s?
Yeah.
So the Russians invaded in the 80s. I think that kid might have got run over by a Russian tank.
Wow. That's the funniest thing you've said, Ben, since we started this show. Right, let's do the news, you dark bastard.
All right, there's this dark.
All I'm saying is he's probably not very happy now.
If you're a new listener, you dark bastard is not a racial slur. Ben is very white. Mike isn't, though, the Mexican prick.
Arriba, andale.
Go on, let's do the news.
Jeff Bezos, guillotine at DC home, off with his head. That's the headline in TMZ.
Wow.
Jeff Bezos' status as the world's richest man is exactly why he's got a new lawn ornament of sorts at his DC home, a guillotine placed there by angry protesters.
Fuck.
Do you know, if you had £1 for every year that the universe existed, Jeff Bezos would still be richer than you.
Wow.
Yeah, still be rich, so fuck him.
Yeah. This is the guy that owns Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think they got the guillotine from Amazon?
That would have been so funny.
Probably.
I mean, you can't pretty much get anything on there.
Exactly.
Well, apparently it wasn't. I don't think it was a working guillotine, because it says the faux blade was set up on Sunday outside Jeff's pad with a sign that's pretty specifically targeting Jeff's uber rich status. Support our poor communities, not our wealthy men. Yeah.
Well, I applaud the sign, but the guillotine's probably a step too far until we actually launch the revolution.
Yeah. But those that make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable, Ben. Who said that?
You, just then.
I know you like to think of me as a font of all knowledge, but I'm not.
Well, that's your job as science officer, Mike. So.
It's JFK.
No, did he?
Mm.
Well, he wasn't that clever, Mike. He got shot.
Did he copy off, though, some fucking Greek bastard?
Probably.
He wasn't that clever. He employed Secret Service men that shot him in the head by accident. You know, that's my take on the JFK assassination, everybody.
Thanks. So, come on, let's wrap this up.
Last one.
Oh, shit, yes, me. Fuck. I'm here and I'm ready. Live and in charge. Wow. Patient dies after family members switch off ventilator to plug in a cooler at a Kota hospital.
Oh, fuck.
Patient was shifted to an isolation ward on June 15th as a safety measure after another patient in the ICU tested positive for COVID-19. 40-year-old man died at a government hospital after his family members allegedly unplugged the ventilator he was on to plug in an air cooler. He was suspected to be suffering from COVID-19. Since it was very hot in the isolation ward, his family members bought an air cooler the same day. and finding no socket for the cooler, they allegedly unplugged the ventilator.
Oh, God.
But
Jesus.
almost half an hour later, the ventilator ran out of power.
Oh. It's like something out of a Leslie Nielsen film, isn't it?
Only they died. They immediately informed doctors and medical staff who administered CPR upon the patient, but he died. Hospital Superintendent Dr. Naveen Sanexa said the committee comprising the Deputy Superintendent, Nursing Superintendent and Chief Medical Officer on duty will probe the incident and submit the report on Saturday.
What probe? What incident? It's a complete fuck up.
The doctor said action would be taken against whoever is found responsible in the probe report. Wow. Well, the family members allegedly did not seek permission to plug in the cooler, and when the patient died, they, quote, misbehaved. The staff and the resident doctor on duty, the hospital authorities said.
Were they all pissed or something?
Yeah, but you're not going to admit to it, are you? Did you plug something in? Did you unplug something? Be honest.
There's a fan whirring in the background.
Yeah, where'd that fan come from? That's not...
Yeah, no. Of course I did. Who do you think I am? Of course I didn't unplug something. Fucking told you, you cunt. You can't plug the cooler in. The bastards couldn't even sit there. Motherfuckers.
Oh.
Good job I know how to use a chainsaw now, innit?
You can help their midwives with their difficult births.
No, they make a list of cunts who deserve it, like pedos and...
Apparently that was how the chainsaw was invented.
Oh, wow. Well...
Get out of it.
We use it on trees now.
Apparently we've...
Get out of it.
We've had it on fucked up facts. Apparently it was... We did dispute that fact, though, but apparently that's it.
So let's just repeat it anyway, without any knowledge if it's true or not.
Remember, listener, we're not the fact checkers. You are.
You are. That should be a t-shirt. Right.
Yeah.
We should wrap this up because I am officially pissed. I'm sorry, I had to celebrate. It's been a mad few weeks for me, and then today I learnt a new skill, and so I got halfway drunk between the pod, and then all the way drunk during the pod.
Nice.
It would be fun to listen back and see if you can pinpoint the exact tipping point.
Nah.
Well, all right. I used to have a small announcement and a plug.
Okay.
I am doing a new podcast with my housemate. It's called Devil's Advocate, and we talk about... We have some
Can't be called that, though, can it?
Well,
Should
we haven't
changing the name?
patent pending, name pending. It'll be coming
Is there
soon.
already podcasts called that?
Yeah.
Probably.
can't
I don't know.
call
It's
it
a work
that,
in
then.
progress.
Yeah, but
Listen to it when it comes out.
you need to name it like now at the drawing board stage. You can't have that.
name. Don't worry. It's a name in progress. It's got a few episodes done already. I've just got to edit
Good
them.
start.
I gave him one, Talking Bullocks.
Have you thought of pair of cunts?
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry, that was a bit harsh. I'm sorry.
You mean
I haven't
think
even
my
met
depth from
your
warm?
housemate. I haven't even met him. It could be one cunt and a gentleman because he could be lovely. I mean, I don't know.
But he filled in for you when you weren't here that week.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
A fucking lampshade could fill in for me, Ben. Whether they can fucking perform as well as I
Well,
is an entirely other matter. Well, if he's willing to pay the £10 a month, he's more than I'm more than happy to substitute.
No, you're all right. Stick with you. We'd have to change the description and everything.
Well, you wouldn't even know how.
I could do that.
Exactly. God, wrap the fucking
Anyway,
thing up.
Yeah,
Jesus
thanks
Christ.
a lot. I've been Ben. Thanks for listening.
Do your plug.
I'm doing it. Thanks for listening. I've been Ben. And don't drink the Flavour Aid. Don't join a cult.
Your next, Gaz.
I've been Gaz, Free Biff Tannen.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.